Hello, selamun alaikum. This is my show. We are starting my show today called Women in Action. I would like to bring onto the show women leaders, women who have made a change, let's say, game changers and leaders in their own right, sometimes women ambassadors, sometimes uh, politically influential women. So we would like to start today with my dear friend, ambassador of the State of Palestine, Hanan Jarrar. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's like hosting my friend at my house because I've been the ambassador here for almost 4 years in South Africa, and she started long before me. And during the first months I was in Pretoria, I established a WhatsApp group called Pretoria Fan Club. And this WhatsApp group consisted of 3 people: me, Ambassador of Palestine, Hanan, and Ambassador of Venezuela, Myrene. She has left, she has completed her term and left a few years ago. But we started this, and we started having breakfasts in Hazelwood in Pretoria, and where we would start the day early, like 8:30, and then we enlarged this group, this Pretoria Fan Club, to other women ambassadors. So that's how we got to know each other, actually. And I feel honored also to be hosting her, also because we need to, see more of Palestine in South Africa, in her persona, let's say, and more hear and learn more about Palestine every day. I know she has been on different platforms, always working for her country and struggling for many years now in South Africa. But today I would like our viewers to learn about herself, her journey in life, her personal life. Let's get to know Hannah. So can you please tell us a little bit about your journey, your career as a career diplomat, first of all, and also as a woman, as a mother of 4 who is married to another diplomat, actually the former ambassador of Venezuela to Namibia. And how has it been so far, your journey as a Palestinian diplomat?
Well, Aisha, thank you so much for hosting me for the first episode of
Yes.
your program here. It's lovely to see people in a different hat, I would say, because first of all, you are my friend, and second, you were my colleague as an ambassador in Pretoria, and now you are my host. It's very interesting, these different portfolios that you have. I salute you, and I wish you all the success in your endeavors. In some words, and to bring the long story short, I would describe my journey in this world as a journey of joy and suffering, I would say. Because, as a Palestinian, I was born, I grew up, my parents raised me, then I went to school, I went to college, I got married, I have kids. All was in a very abnormal situation under the Israeli occupation. I've never lived like 1 minute in a normal life or in a normal situation where you can take your car and move from one city to another, or even take your passport and then travel outside your country. Our journey in Palestine, our life is a bit complicated, very complicated under the Israeli occupation. And I'm sure that people here in South Africa, and especially in light of this genocidal war against the people in Gaza, which is still unfolding, knows more about the life of Palestinians. But these sometimes every challenge can create an opportunity, or every challenge can create a kind of insist inside of you to become maybe a better version of yourself.
Resilience.
Resilience, yes. And this is resilience. Thank you for mentioning this word, because it's the power of Palestinians to be resilient and to know how to live despite all the obstacles. Like, I've never seen people like us Palestinians, like, for example, when the Israelis used to put a checkpoint instead of waiting hours, we try always to find alternatives, to find another road so that we can reach to our place or to our destination without being late or delayed. So we cope with the situation. This is the difficulties that teach us how to cope with our reality on the ground because of the difficulties, because of the Israeli occupation, because of the boundaries, because of the barriers, the checkpoints. All these created an environment that, unfortunately, as Palestinians, when I was inside Palestine, I saw it as normal. You know, it's normal to travel like this. It's normal to have a checkpoint and you have to wait like 2 hours and then to arrive to your destination late 2 hours. It's normal.
Like how life should be like.
Yes, to cancel your appointments. It's normal to walk surrounded by walls. It's normal not to be able to reach, for example, Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, or to reach the holy places that they're supposed to be in your capital. You need a permit. It's normal to have a permit to go from one place to another.
Wow.
Unfortunately, we normalize things that are abnormal. And this created, like when I start to work, of course, my journey of working start like a long time ago when I graduated from the university. And it coincides with the coming of the Palestine Liberation Organization from exile into Palestine, and they start to establish the initial blocks of the public institutions of the Palestinian state. Because before that, you know, Palestine Liberation Organization was a liberation movement in exile. They were in Beirut, then they were in Tunisia. And then after the Oslo, we signed the peace accord, the Oslo Accord. And after Madrid peace process, the Palestine Liberation Organization came according to the peace agreement inside Palestine to establish the PA, or to start the PA as a temporary point in the journey of the Palestinian liberation to reach to a Palestinian independent state. So I graduated from Birzeit University with English language degree. And I start working in one of the PLO offices, of course, as like a young a student, as a young career, like I would say. I started as a coincidence, of course, in one of the departments for the Palestine Liberation Organization that recently was moving from Tunisia to Palestine. I was the youngest at that time in that department. And I started like as, I remember, as a translator, because I have a degree in translation. And then I start to become like a desk officer for Europe. By that time, in 1997, we didn't have the right to establish Ministry of Foreign Affairs according to Oslo Accord.
Wow.
Yeah. So
you did not have your DIRCO at the time?
No. It was like, it was not allowed in 1997. It was like basic institutions that we need to run our basic establishment of the state. You know, even some people believe that the journey for a PLO and the journey of the PA is an easy one, and some people are selling out. No, it was a very difficult journey, and everything we made as Palestinians was against the will of the Israelis, because the Israelis at the end, they didn't want to see you breathe, to see you talk, to see you represent your country at all. So I joined this department from 1997 until like 2001, when the second Intifada started. And then I moved. Like for a couple of months, I wanted to do something different. I say like, and I applied for 2 jobs. One of them, I still remember, one of them was for the representative office of Canada, and one of them was for the representative office of South Africa in Palestine.
Very interesting.
At that time.
Almost 30 years ago.
It's destiny, you know. And then I was accepted in both, and I had to decide, and I say no.
What was your vision at the time? What did you want to do in your life? Did you want to live abroad?
No.
Was that why?
No, not at all. No, not at all, because at that time I was married, I have small kids, and I was so much indulged in my life inside Palestine.
Oh.
I never thought about traveling outside. The whole concept of diplomacy was not there in Palestine in our mindset. We were revolutionaries and people who want to liberate their country, and that's it. We didn't have this concept of diplomacy. It's very new for us. And the people who work for diplomacy for Palestine, they were the people who worked side by side by Yasser Arafat. So they were the men who established the offices of the PLO that now turned to become embassies of the state of Palestine.
Plus, you had a settled life. You had married, you had a
husband. Exactly, yes. But because I had two options between Canada and South Africa, I decided, no, I want to go to South Africa because it's more appealing to what I believe in.
Very interesting.
Yes, and I worked with one of the ambassadors there, Muhammad Rafiq Gangat, who recently, or after that, married to a Palestinian lady, also my friend.
Wow.
Yes, and it was the second Intifada. It was like a very tough time, very difficult time. After this, I said I like to work in a foreign mission, and it's good, but it's not me. I feel that I belong to the PA. I belong to the place that I want to build for my country. I want to be part of the building process. I believe too much in the two states.
Patriotic emotions.
Yes, and I believe I had a dream, like most of the people of Palestine at my age. We had a dream to build the institutions of the Palestinian state. That's why I decided, no, I want to go back again to one of the Palestinian public administration. And at that time, it coincides with the time that there was the establishment of the Ministry of Women's Affairs. Women's Affairs,
okay.
Yes, because also I have a soft point on women's issues and on women's struggle and on women representation. And as a Palestinian woman, that led a very good life. I would say that my parents were well established, and I lived like a happy childhood, thanks God.
In Ramallah.
In Jenin. I'm originally from Jenin, up to the north. And I was really, really satisfied. I never thought that I want to go out or I want to do anything outside Palestine. I always wanted to do something in Palestine for Palestine.
Wow, very interesting. God has other plans for you and your destiny. Part of your destiny was South Africa. I mean, very interesting. Huh? You started with South Africa.
Yeah, true. So I joined the Ministry of Ministry of Women's Affairs as the Director for International Relations. Always I was in the domain of international relations, but this time from a different angle, different exposure, different scope. It's with focus on women's issues, with CEDAW, the women in war zones, and so on. And I really enjoyed working with it. And it was the first step in exploring the possibility.
Are we talking about the beginning of 2000?
Yes, we are talking about 2004.
Yeah, okay, by that time.
Yes, by that time. And I would say that the Ministry of Women's Affairs was the first step for me in exploring the possibility of starting to engage with politicians, engage with people, or start to form my own network. Then I start to think broader. Yes. In 2005, there was a decision, an internal decision by the Palestinian leadership that now we are well established internally, and it's time that we need to disseminate our narrative outside. So despite all the odds and all the rejection of the Israeli administration, we managed to, by de facto, to establish the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for the first time in 2005. Yes, but I stayed in the Ministry of Women's Affairs for all that time, working closely with people who I know, with women leaders, and with Palestinian leaders also at that time. And in 2009, a friend of mine, all by coincidence, a friend of mine who used to work for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Cooperation at that time, she wanted to go outside because her husband didn't have like an ID and he wants to go outside and he cannot stay in Palestine for a long time.
Mm.
And she told me that like, but I need a replacement. I need someone who speaks languages. I need someone who really interested to work in Ministry of Foreign Affairs
Wow.
because they will not send me out unless I bring someone in my
She
place.
comes to you, very interesting.
And she comes
So
to
it's not,
me.
I don't think there are coincidences in life, huh? We believe,
yeah.
you know, it's like
After
serendipity. All the right people and right place and time, everything comes together
True.
to put you on this path. You know,
That's why
a
I
different
did.
path. You didn't stay in women's affairs.
Yeah.
You went into
Yeah.
diplomacy.
So
Very
I
interesting.
went, I made an interview, I took the job, and I was like, also not thinking of going out, serving.
Still.
Yes, because this whole concept of going out, it's formulated newly in Palestine. As I told you, the PLO offices were our representative offices all over the world, and not the PA nowadays missions or who became like embassies later on. So I stayed there and I worked as the director for international cooperation at that time, and I was like blessed to gain the trust of the Minister of Foreign Affairs at that time, who sent me for a training in Chile, I remember, for 3 weeks. And then I returned back, we and him and another also a team from UN, we established what is very well known now in the Palestinian diplomacy called the Palestine Cooperation International Agency, which is the technical arm for the Palestinian diplomacy. That through that,
interesting.
Yes, this agency make mobilization for the human capital of Palestinians from all over the world, because we don't have money to offer others, we don't have things to offer, but we have a human capital.
Like development cooperation aid. You
exactly.
We
don't have aid,
but you have the people.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
We have a human capital. We have people who are well educated, and we can help, and we wanted to help.
Nice.
And also we can do something through trilateral cooperation, that another country can come and put some money and we can do the intervention, I would say. And the motto was solidarity through development.
Solidarity through development. We can also use that. It's nice. It's nice phrase, because development creates also solidarity.
And also it appeals to our situation that we don't have money, we don't have resources, but we have the will to support the people who supported us in the past.
And then you started traveling to South America, I think.
Yes,
quite a few times. Yeah,
exactly. Then I started traveling to Chile, where I met the head of the Chilean agency, who was of Palestinian descendants also. That's why he supported me a lot. And then to Brazil and to many
Venezuela also?
Not that time. No, Venezuela later on. Not that time at all.
Wow.
So, and I started to do these projects. Like I left the department with 11 projects. Like all of them are running and like in
bilateral cooperation.
Bilateral
mostly
cooperation.
With South America or
no? But with everyone, South America, Europe, Turkey. We had a huge project, many projects with Turkey also.
Nice.
At that time, and I visited Ankara during this time.
Perfect. We didn't know each other at the time.
At the time, yeah.
But, you know, I'm glad that we spent a lot of time in the past 4 years when I was also the ambassador.
Yeah. And then I moved from international cooperation. I wanted to join protocol, to be like the head of protocol, of chief protocol. But my minister at that time told me like, listen, I can see that you can do better. Protocol is very good, but it's a service delivery
Correct.
And
it's too simple for you. Yeah.
And you can grow politically in a bilateral field or a bilateral file.
Okay.
So I told him it's fine. Okay. Then he sent me to Department of the Americas and the Caribbean, we called it. So it's Latin America, like South America, North America, Canada, US, and so on, and the Caribbean area.
Nothing related to Africa still.
Nothing.
So you were nice. until we got appointed to South Africa, I think had nothing to do with Africa in our careers.
Yeah,
We
and
were
it's-
wandering around in different parts of the world.
And my
Very
story is
interesting.
very interesting because, like, I said yes, but I don't know Spanish. And Latin America, they all speak Spanish.
Mm.
He said, no, you will learn, and you have like a capable staff that they can help you.
Wow.
And it was really, really 6 years of really amazing journey of learning, exploring, knowing other cultures, and also achieving on the level of achieving results with Palestinian. First of all, we have the second Palestinian community in terms of numbers in Latin America. We have more than 750,000 Palestinians in Latin America, 500,000 one in Chile, then Salvador, and
the diaspora.
and the
Very
diaspora. Yeah.
But maybe now I'm thinking, when we look back, it also paved the way for you to get to know the Latin American culture and get close to somebody from Venezuela. So it was
Maybe.
maybe because the culture was so similar. It was,
I was
it was also on a
fascinated.
personal level, I think.
I was like amazed by this culture. I find it very similar to the Arab culture, but in a different way. But I really love the language.
And your husband's name is Omar, no?
Yes,
Yeah, that's an Arabic name.
an Arabic name.
And also, it's no wonder I think your best friend or the first ambassador you became friends with was the ambassador of Venezuela.
Venezuela.
Isn't that interesting?
Very interesting.
And then I came into the country and we established this group. But Myrene has always been the ambassador of Venezuela at the time, has always been so good and close to us and helped us meet really good people, you know. For instance,
Myrene,
today,
like with her,
she's
it was like
our angel.
an amazing journey also with
And
her.
since you were so close with her, I think you got to know her former deputy chief of mission from the embassy in Venezuela, who became the ambassador in Namibia. Very interesting.
But later
I
on,
say it in a very complicated way, but all these connections in life.
But it's later on. I always say everything in life happens for a reason.
Correct.
You see?
That's
And
so
when I
true.
started to travel to Latin America, I went to Venezuela maybe 6 times, you know. But the first time I remember that I went to Venezuela for work, it was like having our ambassadorial meeting for Latin American ambassadors in Venezuela.
Which year was that?
2012.
Long time ago, okay.
Long time ago, yeah. But
You had no idea.
at all. And I said to my friend, wow, I feel that I can live here. I like this country.
Really?
Yes, despite the fact that I visited Venezuela in a very difficult situation. There were sanctions and there were under the beginning of the crisis in Venezuela, or 2014 it was.
But it's so interesting.
Yeah.
You know, we keep saying the universe listens to us. Watch what you are saying.
Exactly.
interesting.
This is what I'm always telling my kids, like words are powerful.
They are.
What you say, it might happen. When you say things, you send an invitation to universe to listen to you.
Correct. And you never think of it that way. Sometimes you
all.
are joking,
Exactly.
you know.
Yeah.
When in 1993, when I entered the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Ankara, my department was Middle East and Africa. My first file was South Africa.
Mhm.
And then the third secretary at the South African embassy became my best friend, a South African Afrikaner guy. And they showed me at a cocktail at the South African residence a documentary on South Africa. You know what I said? To Andre Dominic, I said to my friend, I will live in South Africa one day.
Oh, wow.
So 30 years later, he
Yeah,
reminds me, you
yeah.
had said that, and I got appointed to South Africa.
You see?
So what we say,
Mhm.
we have to be careful. Huh?
We have always, not careful, but always to be hopeful.
Correct.
Yes, like to give good vibes, positive
true.
vibes to universe, because you never know, it might happen one day.
You never know.
Exactly. So,
And then, yeah.
and then after 6 years in Latin America, my minister told me, like, we have vacancies outside and I see that you can be like a good ambassador. What do you think? Of course, I told him, like, wow, but this is like a bold decision, you know, and it's not only me involved, it's my kids, my husband, then
The former husband.
yes,
yeah.
that time, and like wow, it's a whole, I've never thought about it, and it's a whole transformation. That
You had 3 kids at the time?
Yes. And it's difficult. It will be difficult, but let me check. But you know what? I was determined. Like I really wanted it. I want to try how it looks like. And I want to represent Palestine. This is all what I wanted.
What you wanted.
Yes, really.
Wow.
Because I didn't think about anything else. I didn't want. I lived a nice life in Palestine. I wouldn't say normal. It was abnormal, but a good life.
Wow.
Yeah, I really was enjoying living in Palestine. And
Your
it's not
family.
strange. It's not strange because all diplomats who go to Palestine, despite all the difficulties, they enjoy their
They
time
love
in
it.
Palestine. It's the spirit, the vibes of Palestinians, the power of Palestinian people, the power to live, the power of life.
It has a soul.
Exactly. It has a soul. It has something. Yeah.
So family, how did they, so how many kids did you bring? Like, how did it happen?
No,
Coming here.
before this, I would tell you, like, I have many options. Like, the minister gave me different options. But then I told him, like, wow, I was left with 2 options. And then he told, one of them, of course, is South Africa. And he told me, like, he called me. And he told me, I'm now with the president and you have to decide. I told him, I don't know. You advise me. He says, like, I advise you here.
Can I ask you the second?
Yeah, you don't need it. But
There were two options
it's
he
a
gave
good country.
you. He chose.
My goodness, you know, now reminded me of something. It's Canada. Can you believe that in
Canada and South Africa, between the two?
Between the two. And in the past, I had the option between the Canadian Rep Office and South African Rep Office, and I choose South Africa.
Yeah, it's the same. Very interesting.
It's the same. This is the first time that I tell the story so that I remember that this. Yes. So he told me, no, come here. It's big. It's important, but it will be like a good door for you. And I listened to advice because the Minister of Foreign Affairs, he was like my mentor at that time, and he really supported me, and like he saw something
in you. Yeah.
Yes, and supported me.
Yes. Very important.
So I took the decision, and I came with the whole family. I brought everyone on board.
Perfect.
Yes, except Yasmin, my daughter Yasmin. She was studying in Malta. She was doing her BA in Malta. And my youngest kid and my older son. My former husband, he didn't come, of course, because he has a job there and he didn't want to leave Palestine. And I became in South Africa the ambassador of Palestine.
And that was how many years ago? How many years now you've been?
I arrived this beautiful country on the 8th of January 2020, and it was the anniversary of ANC. I arrived on the same date.
Also,
no, COVID started later on. Yes, and then I presented my credentials. I was lucky because I presented my credentials after 20 days only of arriving. And I start to meet people. Ambassador of Turkey, the former one, Elif, was among the first that I met. Ambassador of Venezuela, Ambassador of Mexico, Ambassador of Ecuador. You know, I visited the countries that I used to work with.
Correct.
You know, it's like
so it happens. It got closer to them.
The closer to my comfort zone, my previous comfort zone.
Correct.
Yeah, and then I start to work. I always say that what is meant to you is meant to you, and you cannot escape what destiny has prepared for you. And we have always to believe that what is prepared is even better than our dreams.
Yes. What a nice capturing of like half of your lifetime.
Yeah.
It's like a big, life story of being.
My lifetime, you know.
That's your life.
Yeah. It's my life because, like, for me, my career is like.
Your life. It becomes our identity after a certain time. Yeah. Like me, 31 years, it became my identity. Now I have a hard time changing from becoming a former ambassador to something else, somebody who is in philanthropy and doing projects for women and youth.
I'm afraid this time
I have to say it.
I don't know what to do. Like, wow, what I'm going to do.
There's a transitional period. I think I'm still in that period, and it is different. But I have to say, and I think we will collaborate in South Africa. from now on when it comes to women's projects, because since I am doing that and you said that's your passion also,
Yeah.
who knows, in the future also you will find space for it. But even now we can work on the empowerment of Palestinian women. You know, the resilience you talked about. The Palestinian people have become such a role model for all of us in terms of strength and resilience, especially the women. So we actually look up to them, this resilience and that strength. And you are a symbol of it in South Africa. That's very important, that we also look up to you. And
I
you
wish.
giving back to the women, the disadvantaged in South Africa, in addition to the Palestinians living here, is such an important thing. It shows a higher purpose. When you have this higher purpose in life, I think, God also helps you, and you somehow advance in life wherever you are, whether you are an ambassador or something else, if your role changes.
Sure.
And I think you show that also, you know, with the 4 children, the youngest being 1 year old. No, is it
1.5?
Can you believe it? 1.5 years old.
Yeah.
So after you know, after all that, having the family here,
Yeah.
your husband is most of the time away.
Yeah.
Yeah, taking care of the kids, taking care of the embassy and everything. Such a tough job, but you are here as an example of the strong woman you are. Thank you so much.
I wish that I
for
could really
joining.
represent Palestinian women. As I,
Yes, you do.
my heart really chattered every minute. I look to the pictures and the footage coming from
course.
harrowing footage coming from Gaza. I see the women. These are the resilient women, the real ones.
Yes.
You know, when you have to find the food for your family, when you have to take care of your husband who is injured, or maybe he died, or your kids, with all the atrocities, with all the difficulties that they are living in. Really, I feel that I'm always small in front of these giant women who live these atrocities nowadays. And as a Palestinian mother, you know, as a mother in general, I think it's the most generic feeling now is that you cannot sit idle while there is a genocide.
Correct.
Whether it was in Palestine or in Myanmar or in Ukraine or in any other place in the world, you cannot sit idle while lives are stolen and kids are imputed and kids are killed in front of your eyes. It's a very difficult situation. All what we hope or what we can do is to pray so that this comes to an end with the minimum loss, despite the fact that our loss is like very, very, very big.
We are still in our comfort zones, but we can always pray and try to send help. But thank you so much for this wonderful conversation. I really enjoyed it. I hope our viewers also enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
We'll see
Aisha.
each other
I
at
hope
our
I was light on
next
you. Yes,
you.
definitely.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.